Good day everybody and welcome to the webinar on Candy Materials Adjudicator. My name is Nadia Yubar. I'm a technical support consultant at the CCS office in Cape Town, a city in the West Cape province of South Africa. It is my pleasure to present this webinar to you. Today I will be showing you how to use the Candy Materials Adjudicator functionality. We will commence with the basics in order to ensure that everyone is of a fairly similar level of understanding as we go through to some of the more advanced functionality. Due to the large number of people logged into this webinar, we will not be able to answer any questions during the webinar. However, please submit your questions during the session with the provided function on screen. At the end of the webinar, we will collate these questions and send the answers to everybody that registered for the webinar via email. Please note that the webinar will be recorded and you will receive a link to download it. There is a webinar once a month on various Candy topics. Should you not be able to attend the webinar at the given time frame, then please still register for the webinar, as this will entitle you to receive a recorded copy of the webinar. Let's get started. Candy uses first principles of pricing. Bill items are built up using the resources. These resources can then be adjudicated using the Material Adjudicator. Resource information may be prepared for a specified supplier package. The supplier packages reflect resources required in the job. The resource information may be sent to suppliers for quotations. These quotations can be entered into the Material Adjudicator for analysis. Up to 6 suppliers can be added and adjudicated per package. We will be covering the following: accessing Materials Adjudicator, creating supplier packages, allocation of resources to supplier packages, acquiring and entering the supplier quotes, adjudication, comparing the quotes, sending rates to the resource list. Accessing Material Adjudicator. I will now show you how to access Material Adjudicator. You can select the Adjudication tab in the Estimating Application menu and select Materials Adjudicator. Creating supplier packages. Material packages are created in the Material Adjudication Manager. You can create many material packages, one for every materials inquiry. Material packages can be scrolled up into headings similar to any of the other document managers in Candy. New material packages can be created in one of two ways. Firstly, you can right-click on the highlighted word First Supplier Package, select New Package. Another option is to click on New on the bottom right corner of the Materials Adjudication Manager window. Either of these two options allow you to create a new supplier package. Package codes are generated and the package can be renamed. I will now type in concrete suppliers. The code will automatically generate the next sequence code. Allocation of resources to supplier packages. Select the package you would like to enter and click on the Select tab. The first 5 columns are for information to do with Candy resources. The 6 rates and amount columns will be used to adjudicate the supplier quotes. The next step is to get some resources into the adjudicator from the resource list. In order to create the supplier package items, the resources must be imported from the main bill resource list. I will now show you the two options of creating a materials bill. The first will be to import resources. By clicking Tools, Import Export, Import Resources. You have the option to select Import All Codes. This will import all the resources in the resource list. In this instance, we will only require the ready-mix concrete resources. Untick the Select All Codes box and enter your unique resource codes required. This will be received from the resource list. Import options also include by resource types, group codes, and cost codes. Resource types, such as material or plant, may be used. This option will import all relevant resource types into the supplier package. Options to import by group code is also available. This will need to be predefined. Group codes usually present the vendor or type of vendor that supplies the resource. Group codes assist in producing a summary of a range of items in the resource list. If the import requires the collection of cost, the cost code option will need to be inserted. This will also require a predefined code. By clicking on OK, Candy will confirm the amount of resources imported. You can click on OK to view the results. I will now close the package for concrete suppliers and show you the second way to allocate resources to a supplier package. You can do this by dragging and dropping the items from the resource list into the materials bill. Select the Adjudicator's Material Adjudicator. Let's create a package for formwork by right-clicking on the package, selecting New Package. Rename this to Formwork Suppliers. You can access this package by double-clicking. In order to accomplish this, I will split the Material Adjudicator to the top half of my Candy desktop, then open the resource list and split it to the bottom half of my Candy desktop. In the resource list, we will need to identify the formwork resources by closing all headings, pressing Ctrl-Shift-Spacebar, and navigating to the relevant areas. In this instance, it will be under Temporary Materials, Formwork. By selecting the first resource and pressing Shift and clicking on the last resource in the range, I will be able to select a range of resources. I will then drag these items and drop them into the supplier package. In this instance, I try to copy complex resources. Please note that only simple resources will be able to be adjudicated. Click on OK. These resources will now appear on the supplier package. Acquiring and entering the supplier quotes. Open the package Concrete Suppliers by double-clicking on it or clicking on Select. In order to send the list to the suppliers, the usage needs to be calculated, as the quantity will affect the price of the item. Select the tab Calculate Usage. Select Recalc and Import Usage. Various options for the selection of quantities will be available. In this instance, we will use the bill quantity. Green tick to confirm. In the usage update, waste will be included. This will be for your own discretion. Tick on OK. Candy will confirm the quantities updated or amended, and you can click on OK. The usage has been updated and the amounts will now be available. This list may now be sent to the suppliers. By exporting the file to Excel, click on the Export to Excel icon, browse to the correct file destination, and select Save File. This list may now be sent to suppliers. After receiving the supplier quotes back, you will now be able to input the information. Firstly, information regarding each supplier will need to be inserted. Supplier name should be inserted into the large blue field, and each supplier should be allocated a designated column. In this instance, the first supplier will be XYZ Concrete. Factors such as discount or tax and currency codes may also be inserted. The rates may now be imported from the Excel file by selecting Tools, Import-Export, Import Supplier Rates. Select the supplier that you would like to import and green tick. Ensure the correct column numbers are identified in Excel. Various other options are also available. In this instance, we will select Overwrite Existing Rates and click on OK. Browse to the saved location of the supply quote and select Start Import. Candy will confirm the number of rates imported. You will now notice the rates have been imported into the concrete supplier package. XYZ has given the contractor a discount of 5%. In XYZ's case, 0.95 will reflect the 5% discount. The rates will not show the discount. Notice the amount will change to the discounted amount. Only if the rates are sent to the resource list will the discounted rates be transferred. The second option is to manually enter the rates. We will manually enter the amounts in the instance for ABC Ready Mix. ABC did not send us rates, only amounts. Insert the amounts in the rate column and select the following option to convert to rate. Tools, Convert to Rate. This will need to be done in every instance where this occurs. ABC has not priced the C20 ready mix. Leave this rate blank. The system consider a zero-rated item as priced. The third option would be to import the resource rate from the resource list. This could assist during the estimate stage where new rates have been received from suppliers or existing supplier rates has changed. Insert the selected supplier whose rates was used during the tender stage, in this instance KLM Big Concrete. select Tools, Import-Export, Import Resource Rates. Select the supplier name and green tick to save selection and continue. Select Existing Resource Rate. This will be the most basic rate that will be imported from the resource list. Other options available will be base and final rate. Save selection and continue. Candy will confirm the process was completed successfully. You can click on OK. You will then see the rates have been imported from the resource list. All of the quotes have now been entered. Adjudication, comparing the quotes. A comparison can now be done by clicking on Compare Quotes at the bottom right of the adjudicator. All 3 quotes will be adjudicated as you have the selection to adjudicate up to 6. This is the option where you will do it. Click on OK. Because ABC Ready Mix has not priced an item, Candy will ask you to confirm a make-up rate for the missing rates. In other words, would you like to use one of the other supplier rates for the missing rate? Select None in this instance. All supplier rates will be used to compare the make-up rate. The results could be interpreted in the following manner. The common values are those items that have been priced by all suppliers. The balance will be the total sum for items that have not been priced by all suppliers. Column total will be the total sum as they appear at the bottom of the columns in the adjudicator. Maximum make-up amount is the maximum balance value received across all the suppliers for the unpriced items. Maximum total is the sum of the common values and the maximum make-up values. Minimum make-up amount is the minimum balance value received across all the suppliers for the unpriced items. Minimum total is the sum of the common values and the minimum make-up values. From the analysis, we can see that XYZ Concrete Suppliers has submitted the lowest price. However, the analysis does not in any way indicate which supplier rates should be used. It merely highlights the most favorable rate, but the decision on which rates should be transferred to the pricing bill rests entirely on the user. If required, a report may be printed showing this information. This can be done at the print selection. Another option would be to select Tools, Reports, List Adjudicator. Candy will again ask you to select the number of suppliers to be adjudicated. Select OK. You may now select the printer to use or to print to PDF. The printable report will now be available. As seen, all 3 of the suppliers are shown with the material adjudicator comparison. Sending the rates to the resource list. After the preferred supplier has been identified, the supplier rates can be transferred to update the resource rates. By observing a bill worksheet, a better understanding will be gained to the effect the resource will have. Open the pricing bill by clicking on the Document Manager and selecting Pricing Bill. Navigate to the item M for C20 concrete in foundations. The total rate for item M is 661.92. By opening the worksheet, it will be noticed that C20 concrete mixed is priced at $5.70. Access it by double-clicking on the resource rate, and it will navigate to the resource rate, also indicating the 570. These three windows may be closed by selecting the wand in the top right-hand corner. Open the Materials Adjudicator by selecting Adjudicators, Material Adjudicator, and double-click to access the concrete suppliers. Select Tools, Import-Export, Update Resource Rate. Select your preferred supplier, as in this instance, XYZ Concrete, and select green tick. The resource rates may be updated to existing base or final resource rates. For now, existing will be used. Green tick. Candy will ask you if you would like to override the resource remarks with the supplier name. In this instance, yes will be selected. A notification will be received that it was completed successfully. You will notice on the Material Adjudicator the word used appeared above XYZ concrete suppliers. Double-click on the resource code in order to open the resource list. When opening the resource list, the concrete item rates have now been updated to the discounted supplier rate. The supplier name will appear in the remarks column. In order to see the effect on the worksheet, right-click on the resource and XREF resource in Net Worksheet by bill item. Select the option Bill Quantity. Double-click on the item M and you will notice C20 ready mix have been updated to the discounted rate of 541.50 per cube in comparison to the 570 per cube. Thank you for your time, and I trust you now have a great insight into Candy Materials Adjudicator. Please remember to email your local CCS office if you want to know more about Candy Materials Adjudicator. We will keep you informed of the next webinar, and remember, if you are unable to join on the selected time, then please still register and you will receive the recording, which you can then watch in your own time. Enjoy the rest of your day till the next webinar. Goodbye.